Imagine, Jerusalem, June 2004. The sun is high over the city of David. A construction crew is at work on routine infrastructure beneath the slope. A tool strikes something solid in the ground that should not be there. Dust shifts. The edge of a single carved stone step emerges into daylight for the first time in nearly 2,000 years. According to the Israel Antiquities Authority, the pool that those workers had just struck was accidentally discovered in June 2004 during Elad Foundation infrastructure work. Archaeologists Ronny, Reich and Shukron of the IAA were called in to lead the excavation. The site they would uncover sat in the right part of the city, fed by the right water supply, dated to the right window of time, to match a pool named in the Gospel of John, a pool the text identifies as the place where, in its narrative, a blind man is told to go and wash. This video is about what they actually found. And, just as importantly, about what the evidence does and does not allow anyone to claim. The city of David sits on a narrow ridge just southeast of the walls of Jerusalem's Old City. According to Wikipedia's entry on the site, the term Pool of Siloam refers to several rock-cut pools located southeast of the walls of the Old City of Jerusalem. Wikipedia also describes how these pools were fed by the waters of the Gihon Spring, carried there by what is known as the Siloam Tunnel. A pool bearing the name Siloam appears in the Gospel of John. The narrative places a healing episode at this location and assumes its readers will recognize the place. The Gospel does not describe the pool's dimensions, its construction, or its surrounding plaza. It names it. It places it. And it moves on. For anyone approaching this text as a historian rather than as a believer, the question is straightforward: was there, in fact, a public rock-cut pool of this name, in this part of Jerusalem, in the 1st century, a structure that a 1st century writer could have walked past and named in passing? Whether any portion of such a pool still survived beneath the soil, preserved, intact, and recognizable as such, was not a question that had been settled. What changed the situation, by every published account, was an accident. According to the Israel Antiquities Authority, the discovery in June 2004 came during infrastructure work carried out by the Elad Foundation. The excavation that followed was led by Ronny Reich and Shukron, both archaeologists working under the IAA. Their professional credentials matter to this story. The dating they would later publish did not rest on a desire to confirm a religious text. It rested on what came out of the ground. The dating of the pool came from two categories of evidence recovered in and around the structure. According to the published findings, coin finds at the site included both Hasmonean and Roman issues, and pottery was also part of the dating evidence. The combination of those numismatic and ceramic finds placed the use of the pool firmly in the late Second Temple period, the centuries on either side of the turn of the era. Imagine, a step uncovered. Then another step beneath it. Then a wider landing. Then another flight of steps. The pool does not narrow as it descends, it expands. The cuts in the stone are not the work of a single afternoon. They are the work of a public space, designed to hold water and to receive people walking down into it. Reich and Shukron published their initial findings in Biblical Archaeology Review in 2005. A companion article by Herschel Shanks the same year, cited by researchers writing about the site, brought the discovery to a wider audience. The dating, according to the IAA's own reporting, was anchored by the coin finds and the pottery, not by any prior expectation about what the structure ought to be. The significance of that dating is worth pausing on. A pool whose use is anchored by Hasmonean and Roman coins is a pool that was in use, by definition, during the window of time the Gospel of John describes. Not a later reconstruction. Not a medieval tradition layered onto an empty hillside. A rock-cut pool, in the right part of the city, fed, according to Wikipedia's summary of the site's geography, by the waters of the Gihon Spring carried there by the Siloam Tunnel. For the Gospel of John, this is the period in question. The text refers to the Pool of Siloam in Jerusalem and names it as a real location its first-century readers were expected to recognize. What the accidental strike of a worker's tool revealed was a pool that fits, on every published criterion, the kind of place the Gospel was naming. Burial had preserved it. Infrastructure work, of all things, brought it back into view. It is worth being precise about what this dating does and does not demonstrate. According to the published evidence, it demonstrates that a substantial rock-cut pool existed at this location, in this period, fed by the right water source. It does not, on its own, demonstrate anything about specific events that the Gospel narrates as having taken place there. The stone confirms the setting. The stone does not narrate the story. This is the part of the story that requires the most discipline. A pool, however well dated, is not a transcript of what happened beside it. The archaeology, by its nature, can only tell us so much. The coin finds and pottery reported by Reich and Shukron establish a period of use. They do not record specific events. They do not record the names of individuals who walked the steps. They do not record conversations. No archaeological method available to the IAA team, or to any team, can confirm a specific encounter described in a religious text by examining the stone itself. That is not a weakness of this excavation. It is a limit on what excavation, as a discipline, is able to do. There is also the issue of completeness. According to the reporting on the site, the pool as it has been excavated is a portion of a larger structure. Where its full boundaries lie, what stood on the surrounding plaza in the 1st century, how its access was organized, these are questions that work begun since the 2005 publication in Biblical Archaeology Review has continued to address. Honest reporting on the site requires acknowledging that the picture is still being filled in. And there is the question of identification. The pool is in the right part of the city. It is fed, according to the Wikipedia summary, by the waters of the Gihon spring through the Siloam tunnel. The dating from coins and pottery places it in the period the Gospel of John describes. None of those points, taken individually, would close the case. Taken together, they place the identification on a firmer archaeological footing than it has ever had. But the evidence currently in the ground is not the same thing as absolute certainty about the identification. This is the discipline of archaeology applied to ancient texts. Anyone who tells you the 2004 discovery proves the miracle in the Gospel is overreaching the evidence. Anyone who tells you the discovery is irrelevant to the Gospel is underreading it. What did Reich and Shukron actually hand to the world in 2004 and 2005? According to the published reporting, they handed the world a real place. A rock-cut pool, located southeast of the walls of the old city of Jerusalem, fed by the waters of the Gihon spring through the Siloam tunnel, dated by coin finds, Hasmonean and Roman, and by pottery to the period the Gospel of John describes. That is the published result. That is what is on the record in Biblical Archaeology Review from 2005 onward. The discovery, according to the Israel Antiquities Authority, was made during Elad Foundation infrastructure work, not during a search for the pool, not during a project aimed at confirming a religious text. That matters, because it removes one of the standard objections raised whenever a biblical-era site is announced, the suspicion that the discoverers found what they were already looking for. The workers were not archaeologists. They were not on a mission. They struck the stone by accident. For the historical reliability of the Gospel of John on questions of geography and topography, the implication is measurable. The text refers to a specific named pool, in a specific part of Jerusalem, fed by a specific water source. According to the IAA's published findings and the Wikipedia summary, all 3 of those points correspond to a real, datable structure now visible in the ground. For the audience watching this video, whether you came in skeptical, curious, or somewhere in between, the takeaway is not that any particular religious claim has been proven. According to the evidence reported by Reich and Shukron, what has been confirmed is the place. The stone says where. The stone does not say what happened there. Anything beyond what the stone says is a separate question, and it remains a separate question even after the dust settled on the 2004 excavation. What the discovery does change is the available framing. The pool is no longer hypothetical. It is no longer lost. It is a documented site with a documented chronology, accessible to anyone willing to read the published archaeology. The pool sits today in the city of David, partially excavated, partially still under work that began more than 2 decades after that 2004 strike. According to the published reporting, the coins are catalogued. The pottery is catalogued. The Biblical Archaeology Review article from 2005 is on the record. A pool in Jerusalem, named in a 1st century text, has been confirmed by accident as a 1st century pool in Jerusalem. That is what the archaeology says. No more, and no less. What you make of the text that named it, whether you treat its geography as a reason to take the rest of its claims more seriously, or as a careful setting for stories that are something other than history, is a question the stone is not in a position to answer. The pool was buried for nearly 2,000 years. A worker's tool brought it back. The question of what to do with that is yours.